We are on the Country versus Metal podcast with Gatlin Johnson. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for jumping on. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've followed your channel for a long time now. It feels like since the first time I had TikTok. So uh,
Yeah, that's
excited.
it. It's been a wild ride of just how many artists and whatnot I've been able to talk to, and hopefully I've been able to have people, learn about new artists like yourself. Because
Hmm.
man, like doing like a deep dive on these, man, like I always feel like a lot of times I do like single serving songs where I'll just be like try to keep it fresh and go back. But man, when you really listen to like a whole body of your work, there's something like special to that, especially with your songwriting.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not quite as deep as I'd like it to be. We've got a lot of songs we haven't been able to put out and stuff, but been writing a whole lot. So, but it's good to hear that the stuff that's out is enjoyable.
yeah, dude. I mean, that song for you, the connectivity of the lyrics to that. It's very rare for me to get lyrics from the first listen, and that was just it's weird as a guitar player. Like I didn't even hear the guitar when you first started hearing what that song's about, and just like it has depth. That's a great song. And was that
Well,
I, I didn't hear what you said.
it's cutting up just a little bit, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I lost you right about when you said it has depth.
Yeah, I was just saying it has depth. Like when you listen to the lyrics, it's definitely like if you ever been in that situation, you're definitely gonna like have a major relationship with that song. And
Yeah, I it was a song I started. It was actually the first song that I started. I started writing this song, that For You song in high school, and I had never finished it because I didn't consider myself a songwriter. I was a football player. Like that's all I did was play football and go to school, and I played guitar at church and stuff. Is kind of how I got started. My dad played, and so but in high school I had kind of halfway written that song, and then when I went to college, I had a lot more time to myself, and um, I revisited that once I had this injury, and um, I luckily had just recently went through the same thing I had gone through the first time. So it was like twice over I felt this thing, and I was able to put a little more into it, I think, because I was probably a little older and more mature. But yeah, that's one of the first songs that we finished and started playing full band and stuff, and we don't really play it anymore. Maybe we should throw it back in the set, I guess.
yeah, dude, it's a great song. Now writing a song like that, what what can you trust more, your memory or your emotion? Because I feel like one lies, like over the other when writing a song like that.
Mm. Um, I think I think you're right that I think it's good to trust one or the other or both. I've never written a song where I've trusted both, I don't think. Or maybe that's what I do every time, I don't know, but I can see what you're saying where like one might take you down one path and the other will take you down another path. I've definitely written songs based on emotions like immediately as they were happening, and I don't like those songs because they're just hateful and um, but the memory ones also tend to come out a little more positive, I think, maybe because you're looking way back on stuff or whatever. There might be a lighter tone to the sad story, but I think you can trust either or maybe both there.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely have written a song. The latest one that we're working on, we just went to the studio for it. It's definitely an emotional song. It's not really a memory song. Um, and I love that song. I didn't think I would, but it's funny, like how you say, like it might be dangerous, or like I'm thinking it might be dangerous to trust emotions to write a song, but then you do it, and then you do it that in front of people, and everybody else is just as hateful and vengeful as you are at your worst, so they like it. And I didn't. So when I wrote our song, it's called "Wish I Could Hate You." It's going to be our next single, but when we wrote that song, me and my buddy Peter, um, I didn't really. I was trying to give it away to people because I knew it was a good song, but I thought like a little too personal maybe. Um, and then I played it in front of people, and I remember like I could feel the room like kind of turn, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so people like this is something people like. And then the more I played it in front of people, the more I realized um, it's something that like I can connect to people with. So I don't know. There's something to the emotional thing too.
Yeah. It's weird how like you could feel like maybe the song comes from like a place you don't want people to know, but once you share it and how like it becomes not your deep personal feeling anymore, it goes out to the audience. Do you find like that
Hmm.
helps? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an
I mean,
interesting concept.
that's pretty much exactly what yeah, exactly. Like, it is, but you're right on the point there. It's like, it's no longer just my story, I can feel like it's important to everybody, and so it's worth sharing.
Yeah, and with your songwriting, does it come from lyrics first, or like do you do a melody and then just mend the two together? Did I cut out on you?
Yes, yeah, I lost you for a second.
Uh now I was just wondering, like when you do write a song, are you like lyrics first or a melody, and then or you just have an idea and it just flows simultaneously?
Yeah, it's still like really new to me. I think I've only been doing it for a few years now, but from my experience, it's always been um, whatever avenue the song was supposed to come from. Like I have found that if I try to start with one or the other, then it doesn't come out as well. But like if something comes to me from one direction, like if I can hear the melody and then I start writing the words to the melody, like if I let one come before the other, I guess, instead of just like being like, I want to write this song lyrically or I want to write the song melodically, like letting the song do its thing. I've heard so many different ideas about that because it's really, I think that's a really true thing. It's like the song writes itself when you let it. If you force something, it's not going to be worth listening, or I don't think it's worth listening to or worth playing even. But I've heard this idea that like songs are already pre-existing, which I don't know how much of that I believe or whatever, but like there is something to be said about that. Um, like song, I think it was Rick Rubin actually. He was like, songs are just floating in the air, and the more you like sit down to write one, the more chance you have of just like catching one as it's flying by. And
Yeah.
they've always existed. You might hear a song, you're like, man, I've been trying to write that song for you know however long, and they just made it way better than I could have, and it's because that song was already there in everybody's mind, or in some weird space. I don't know.
Yes, songwriting is definitely a unique thing that like how you said. And I always like his interviews where they're like, "Do you have any musical talent?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Did you go to school?" "No." And it's just like we just work it out in the moment, and it just comes to him, and how he's able to just certain people just can channel, and you'll have the idea, and how people like that can just change this idea into something that becomes alive in itself. And like you
Yeah,
said, once you put it down on a record, and you could totally mean one thing, and if the audience perceives it as something else, and it's just crazy how it becomes this entirely like different entity when so many people can hear so many different versions and just have so many reactions to one song. It's really cool
Hmm.
with songwriting. Now, do you have a songwriter that like? Do you have like a favorite that you try to like? Not like just like not mimic. You know what I mean? You just really appreciate their style that you know that impacts your writing.
Uh, like you said, like I really don't try to mimic anybody, but
Yeah,
um, I'd say like one older example of I think my probably like 1A and 1B songwriters of all time is Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson. Those are like my two top songwriters of all time. And then lately, I really like this guy named Aaron Ray Tier, who is a really creative dude, I guess is what you could say, and a really nonchalant. Like I don't really care what people think about my songwriter. Um, and all three of those dudes, I guess right now are really just guys. Like I was telling somebody the other day with Willie Nelson, it's this there's this new streaming platform called Playola, and what they do is they make radio stations for individual artists, where the artist picks the playlist for their station, which is a really cool concept, and I'm super excited to be like messing around with that a little bit. And what they were having me do the other day to put the station together was intro all the songs, and not necessarily that all my intros are going to be put on there, but so just so they have them, and they're like say something about each song or whatever, and um, I'd get to like a Willie Nelson song, and I'd be like, uh, "Hello Walls" by Willie Nelson, and I literally don't have anything to say about that song, but I can just see Willie Nelson like sitting down and writing that song, and I feel like it's that way with all of his original songs. Is you can literally just see Willie Nelson. You can't stuff like Willie or like Hello Walls or Funny How Time Slips Away or any of those songs that he wrote. You can't write those from a like fictitious place. You have to be so sad that you are talking to the walls and you're talking to the window and you're talking to the ceiling. And so um, that like real authentic songwriting that Willie Nelson has is something that I always will try to be, I guess, the authenticity of it.
yeah, and he's been doing it forever, which
So
is
long.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you look
like
at some
he's
of those years and it's like, whoa, that was a long time ago, you know?
yeah, like even like his guitar, it's
Hmm.
just battered and he's still jamming on it and still has ideas. Like how do you not get burned out, especially like when you're considered a legend and like you have to put stuff out that just is at a level of where people consistently throughout decades have expected to be above and beyond like over anybody else when you're on probably a good percentage of people's Mount Rushmore of country legends. That
Hmm.
has to take a toll as well. But he just seems like a happy-go-lucky guy, and just is a great writer.
Yeah, he's one of the best to ever do it. He's got a album called Live Country Music Concert, and it is one of my favorite albums to listen to. I still listen to it all the time. But it's when he just kind of hadn't broken through the Nashville thing. People knew his songs, and then other people were starting to record his songs, and people in Texas really knew his songs. And it was a recording from a place called Panther Hall Ballroom in Fort Worth. It used to be there; it's not there anymore. But um, it's just an amazing album of songs that he wrote and one cover. But it's just really cool to see. Like that was 1964, and that was a long time ago. But to him,
Yeah,
he was, you know, I guess he was in his 20s probably. he didn't make it until he was like 40 because people in Nashville didn't have the same respect for him or his songwriting until much later, I guess. But I mean, he wrote a bunch of hits in the 60s and 70s too.
Yeah, he definitely has like just a endless. That's just history, especially because I've only like recently started listening to country music, and it's just like him and like Dolly Parton. It's like thousands upon thousands of songs and stuff they've written and
Hmm.
they've touched on and duets, and it's just for those guys that continue on and just man the stamp they've left, the legacy is incredible because like also like his like same with like George Strait, like on the personal side, but not a lot of huge scandals. I know he had the thing from the IRS, but other than that, like
Yeah.
there's no, like they always say, like it's like frowned upon to like make statues of people that are still living, but he seems like somebody that'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, he'd keep rolling. He'll probably live another 10 years if somebody built a statue of him.
Yeah, man, it's yeah. He's got to be like 92, 93
Yeah.
or
I
something.
think he's I think he's like 92 or 93
Yeah, that's crazy how he's
and
still
still playing
touring.
every now and then.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And being that old and touring, it's flu season. That's that's a dangerous game for someone that
Yeah,
old.
it's pretty
It's
crazy.
yeah, it's cool that man, all the like, we think of all the generations that he's touched, and just
Yeah.
that's got to
I
be
I
that's big
remember
cool.
I I hadn't really thought about like I saw Willie Nelson one time play, and it was kind of like seeing a museum exhibit. Like, like he still walked himself out there. He couldn't sing all of his songs or whatever, but he had a great band with him still, um, and it was still really cool to see him and to hear his voice as much as he could and his guitar. But he didn't do much of this. But I used to talking about touching generations and thinking about that is like even if you're not a Willie Nelson fan, you have to think about if you go to see him and you don't think it's cool, think about like who he did see, like or who he did interact with. I mean, he's friends with Ray Charles. Like, uh, I mean, the first time that something like that happened to me, I saw Tanya Tucker play a show at a festival, and she said something about writing a song with Johnny Cash, and I was like, "What?" And she just kind of mentioned it and kept going, and then sang the song, and I was still thinking like, "I'm sorry, did you just say you wrote this with Johnny Cash?" Like, it's pretty nuts that some people from those days are still rolling.
Yeah, and especially because there's a lot of people in the country music scene that like their timeline has ended. Like it's done. Like they'll probably still listen to Willie Nelson what he puts out, but other than that, it's and I get it. I was kind of like that too with even with heavy metal music. I was kind of like, yeah, it all sounds the same. I'm done. And I don't like how this is turning out. But yeah, that's like what I really try to do. Well, I hope to do is like, dude, there's like people like you that are doing like, it's the core of what those guys were doing, just modern day. And it's a shame that there's people that really don't think there's like great music out there that has the great storytelling and everything. And I still try to tell people like it's down in that Texas Oklahoma scene where it's you know each band sounds different.
Hmm.
And I love how like your music, you're not like in a box. You want to do an acoustic thing, do an acoustic thing. You want to do like a jam, you want to put banjo on this one. It's
Yeah,
that's what I really like, the variety and the fact that you know what I mean. you're not being stared down on Suits, being like, no, that's not what worked the last time. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna repackage the formula and everything. And I get it. When you turn on those airways, it's the same song.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Well,
what I want to. I hope I bring people into, people like you.
I appreciate you pointing out the variety, I guess, because that's like always been something that I've said as long as I've written songs, which is not that long. It feels like a long time, but it hasn't. We've been doing this for maybe 2 full years, almost 3 years now, as a like doing live music and original music. But as long as I have been doing my own original music, I've always said like serve the song, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like when you write a song, you don't need to try to make it sound a certain way so that people like it, or make it sound a certain way because that's what people expect. I think that like I grew up listening to a ton of different kinds of music, and I feel like that my discography should reflect that. It shouldn't be like, well, people really love that you have that old country sound, like, and we have a steel guitar in our band. Like we can do Merle Haggard and we can sound like 60s country, and some of our songs do, and I love that sound, but not all of them are gonna sound that way because they're not supposed to. I'm not gonna try to. I think that that's really important to who I am, at least, is to have some sort of variety. And what you're saying about people not knowing that there's still bands like doing original music is really sad, like you're saying. And the problem is people aren't going to see live music for the sake of seeing live music. They'll
Yeah.
only go see live music if they saw them on TikTok, which, and it's a great tool. I mean, you and I both know it's an amazing tool. But and that's why I'm so grateful that somebody like you will like do what you're saying, is like trying to put people onto the real original music and stuff, because it's a space where right now it's dominated by crowd pleasers and whatever's going to get clicks and likes, and yeah, it's a shame that is what controls people's desire to like go see music. I mean, because I work at the Blue Light on Wednesdays, and even before I worked there, I just would go see bands. I mean, there's music at the Blue Light in Lubbock. There's music Wednesday through Saturday, and that means there's going to be good bands, there's going to be great bands, and there's going to be really crappy bands. And that doesn't mean they're always going to be crappy. I was one of those crappy bands. Some people might still consider us to be a crappy band, but I guarantee you we're not always going to be that to somebody, because we're constantly getting better. But I would go to Blue Light, as many nights as I could in a week, barring like school or whatever, or being out of town. And you go just meet people and you hear their music. And I saw somebody I would have never seen if it weren't for the Blue Light. Sean McConnell, I'm sure he's been that way for a lot of people too, like all the way back to when he started. He's a writer. I don't even know where he's from. He might be from Nashville, but he's not a Texas guy. But he just, you go to a place that has live music and you might see your favorite band ever, and you would have never discovered them if you hadn't gone to see that. But it's not a huge thing anymore now. It's like, I've got to have a reason to go out and pay $10 or less to see live music, but I'll pay $180 to see somebody that's famous on TikTok and sounds like garbage. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, you're trying to get people out, and a lot of times, people are just happy with just staring at whatever's in their hand or in front of their face. But man, when you feel the energy from a live show, it's so different to the collective feeling in the room. and it's different
Hmm.
every time. You can go see the same band 3 times, and it's going to have a different energy each time, and it's definitely I I definitely do love going and seeing shows, and I hope other people that there's Uber. You can go have a good time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
There
back in the day,
and there
said
are still people that love to see live music, and I appreciate those people so much. Like it is truly the best part about doing this is um, connecting with people through live music. I mean, there I can name some people. There's people in Lubbock that come out to like every show, and it's because they love live music. And then you might think like, oh well, I'm just gonna go play this acoustic show in Amarillo, and it's just gonna be a bunch of people that don't know who I am because it's not a show. It's just like a little restaurant, gig, I guess you could call it. And then somebody there comes up after you and they say, "Hey, well, we saw y'all play in Turkey. We saw you playing here. We had to come see you." It's still a thing. People do still go see live music, and it's super encouraging to see that. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, I wouldn't want those brainwashed people to come see me play and only be there because they saw I had a bunch of likes or followers or whatever. Like, I want the people that are there to see live music
yeah,
and
the
enjoy it.
the people that were they were organically
Yeah, or even
involved
somebody
with
who
your music.
somebody that'd be like, uh, you know, I love that song for you. Why didn't you play that song? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, like you shouted out that song, so I mean, just people that like music, they like good music, and everything about it, like you said, lyrically or melodically, like those are the kind of people that I want to get in the room. So every time
yeah,
I think to myself, like, man, I wish we would just blow up. I wish we'd have a video go viral and our songs would just get a bunch of streams and stuff. And then you start to think about it, and it's like, well, it's really a lot more meaningful to have these kind of personal interactions with people. I think to some extent. Obviously, it'd still be great to blow up, but I mean, um,
yeah,
yeah, the people are worth doing what we do as it is.
yeah,
So
yeah. They're the ones that make posters. They're the ones that like. I just remember like our band. We were just playing for a radio contest. Don't expect anybody to be there. Somebody had a sign with the band name and everything, and like, you're gonna win. I was like, wow, that's incredible. Because come to find out, they drove all the way out. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was really cool because I didn't expect anybody to know who we were. But
mhm.
yeah, that was really cool, and you never forget that.
You'll never forget that. No, yeah.
Yeah, and if it was like, if it was 100 people, you're gonna remember the people that like stopped, went to the store, made a poster,
Hmm.
and I was like, man, that's what you want to see, because that's the one, like, when you do blow up, it's like, it'd be like, everywhere you want to go, we will put you on the list
Yeah, come on.
forever. Yeah,
Yeah, we have
which
a super fan. I've actually never shouted him out, but I'm gonna shout him out right here because we're talking about it. I mean, it's natural and organic. This dude, I mean, he's a friend of mine at this point, but his name's Evan Shannon, and he comes to like every blue light show because he went to college at Tech. He doesn't anymore, but he kind of became known as the guy who at our shows would yell Gatlin effing Johnson, and then he'd start to chant whatever. Well, we always just kind of step back and laugh while it happens, and then we play another song, whatever. Or one time when it got really crazy in there, it was like the first time we'd ever put like a bunch of people in that room, and he started that chant, and it got really loud, and I was like, dude, come on, my mom's here, like, watch your language. Um, but later this year, we we got to play after homecoming, and there was just an amazing amount of people at Blue Light, and that day or maybe the next week or something, he was at a Tech football game, and he said some guy came up to him and was like, "Are you the guy that chants Gatlin effing Johnson?" And I was like, "Yeah, that would happen to you. I wouldn't get recognized, but he would definitely get recognized as the guy that chants our name." So it's really
Yeah,
funny.
dude, it's funny how fans like that get like a notoriety. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if you know who Matt Westerman. I don't know if you know who he is.
Mm-mm.
He he's like it, the play. Well, I saw him in Texas, and just you can hear him. He does the same thing, whoever it is, and everybody there, like it was just like a couple people next to me were like, "Oh, Matt Westerman's here." And just like
Yeah.
either like Tanner Ussery was saying, like, "Man, one day I'll get as famous as my dad and Matt." Just it's funny how like he's that guy. I mean, it's kind of like a staple
Mm-hmm.
in a show and in the experience, and like
Yeah.
how on both sides of the stage there can be like fame
All it
and
takes is one person having a bunch of energy and to get a crowd riled up too, is what I've noticed. I mean, I've been super appreciative of that for him. Even, I mean, our first, my first blue light show, there was, you know, 30 people there or something, maybe, or maybe it was more than that, but it felt like 30 probably. But he was there and he was loud and there was a presence. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it only takes one person, like you're saying, to get crowd going, have that notoriety. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, especially people feed off of other people's energy. If
Hmm.
he's if you're standing next to a guy that's getting into it like that, it's kind of hard. It's contagious, It's kind of hard just to stand there and not do anything when you got somebody like really feeling the music.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
your blue light live. It's funny. It's like normally I don't like live album. Like I don't like, but it's yours is just mixed and mastered so well, and it sounds great. And
Oh, thank
I,
you.
I know I love it because I listened to it more than once. Because
That's awesome.
like the way how it's done, I really like that because I feel like in a lot of like live, there's always someone clapping off time. There's always some nuances where I'm just like, man, and it's I, and it
Yeah,
and the songs sound different from the album, which I love. They
yeah,
have their own like life off the record, on stage, and I always appreciate it when, and especially like when you're feeling the crowd, you're like, they're more upbeat. Let's be more upbeat,
hmm,
and I just definitely dig the vibe, and yeah, the mixing and mastering on that is top notch.
thank you. That'd be this guy named Alan Crossland who um he works in I think the town of Slayton. It's just outside of Lubbock, but he's been around this town for a really long time, um, producing, mixing, mastering, engineering, all that stuff. He did the video as well. I've got a video on YouTube of the whole thing. Um, but that deal was actually really special to me, anyways. Maybe not to anybody else, but it was really special to me because um, it was every last Wednesday of the month at the Blue Light. This group called the Hub City Drifters plays a set, and it's a band made up of guys who played in bands when they were younger and went on the road, and some of them still go on the road with like William Clark Green and stuff. But every single one of them just started in Lubbock, played music, went off, and now they're back in Lubbock, raising a family, or they own a business and they're not on the road anymore. So I guess a while ago, I don't know when they started really doing this, but they just decided, we should do something, and they got like the last Wednesday of the month residency at Blue Light, and the crowd is different than any Blue Light crowd you'll ever see. Like I like to say that it's the only show where the whole crowd has their own in-ear monitors because it's all just old folks with their hearing aids, And but they're dancing, and there's always it's packed. Like there's 100 to 200 people in there every last Wednesday of the month. And when I started going to that, was when I started building a relationship with the older Lubbock musician crowd, and honestly, like they're a huge part of the reason that I like keep going. I feel like I need to keep going because they encourage me, and just the fact that somebody's willing to do that, that's already been through it all, means more than like me believing in myself. But anyways, I had played with them. They'll always have a special guest come up, and they do all covers, but they'll have a special guest come up and do, 3 or 4 cover songs, old classic country stuff, Merle Haggard and stuff. Um, and I got up there, and we did some original songs, and then we did a cover or two, and it was a lot of fun. And then the next time I talked to them about doing it, I was like, why don't we do like a live recording? Would you guys be interested in doing that? And we'd had an idea about doing it somewhere else and all this kind of stuff. But then they were like, hey, I mean, we're going to play on the last Wednesday of the month. We can't really get together for sure on another date. But if you want to do that recording on that date, that'd be awesome. And I was like, well, yeah, that'd be great. Um, and like I said, I mean, the crowd is like they're a dancing crowd, a listening crowd. So that's where you get like it's not like a rowdy live recording. You can't hear
Yeah.
like people singing along, or, I mean, even maybe a little bit, but um, you're not going to hear, you might hear like some bottles shatter into trash cans or something. But for the most part, it's just people on the dance floor. And yeah, it was a super special one for me. I still am trying to get the title changed because I want it to say like the Hub City Drifters, but it wouldn't let me do that for all sorts of weird reasons. I'm dealing with an AI program doing distributing, so
Yeah.
still working on that. But yeah, huge shout out to the Hub City Drifters for they're the band on that. That's another reason it sounds different. We did some different things with my songs. They had some different ideas, and it was kind of a funny one. If you watch the video, you can see like a group of 4 or 5 guys standing right next to the stage, and that's my band. And so we were like, they had no idea how we were going to play these songs or whatever. And so like we would do something different. I'd like look at them, and they would be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's a different way to do that. But yeah, it is a whole different energy, and it was a really fun one to do.
Yeah. You definitely you give them a shout out on the end of the track, and then because I'd never heard the name before, and I typed it in, and nothing came up. I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, that's interesting.
they're amazing. Like I wish everybody could go to a Hub City Drifter show on the last Wednesday of the month in Lubbock, Texas, because I told somebody this the other day. It's like somehow worked out last year that, you know, 3 of my worst days in 2025 were all the last Wednesday of a month. And every time I walked into the blue light, like my day was perfectly fine. I was just like, everything that was going on that day, I didn't think about it anymore because Danny Sauger's up there singing um, Big City by Merle Haggard, and they all sing for the most part. It's just a really awesome thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool when you have a spot like that and you have a band that can, you know, put that type of performance on and have the crowd,
Yeah,
because packing a place on a Wednesday, it's tough to
yeah,
do.
it is. They're that good. I mean, they really
Yeah.
are. We practiced. I mean, they've heard my songs, and they had the tracks and stuff, but we only rehearsed the night before that recording. And it was like real quick. I mean, we did my 3 or 4 songs, and then they rehearsed the rest of their set, and they're just some of the best in the world, to ever do it that I know. I mean,
Yeah, like I would have had no idea had you not told me that.
yeah, isn't that nuts? It's pretty
Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah,
was a
just
little I mean, I was really nervous about it, honestly. It's my first live recording too, so I don't feel like I did my best, but I know that they did an amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, it's an incredible recording, and then to find out you only had like one practice, and you just recorded it off the floor, and
Mm.
it sounds the way it does. Everything. It, yeah, it's a really cool recording. Because when you get two versions of the same song, if you're a huge fan of the song.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you have any? I know you have a single coming out. Do you have any plans for like a EP or an album coming out in 2026?
We're working on it. It's all about money. I mean,
Yeah.
if we had all the money in the world, we'd have an album coming for sure. I've got like a ton of songs that we play live and songs that we don't play live that I really, really love. So we're trying to figure it all out how we can afford it because you don't want it to sound like crap. I've done that. I've done that before, and it's not like once you get past that, you don't want to go back to that. So
Yeah.
um, we're trying to do everything as best we can. Um, so there's really no plan right now. I've got a lot of ideas and concepts as far as putting songs together and which ones to record, but honestly, the thing that makes the most sense in my head is just like at the end of last year, around Thanksgiving, we put out a thing on Bandcamp, which is, the best streaming thing for artists because you set your price, and if people want to listen to it, they'll pay for it, like people used to pay for music, you know.
Yeah.
And then if they don't want to listen to it, then that's fine. But what we did was we put a live show on there. Um, Mixed it down, and we'll be a little more prepared this year, so it'll be a little bit better than last year's. But as far as putting out an album or something, I'm definitely planning on doing another Bandcamp release at the end of the year with probably 12 songs, um,
Nice.
live recording, probably from Blue Light, just because that's where we pull the best, and it's the best room. And I mean, it's the best room in Texas for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy. I've never been there, but I've heard about it numerous times.
Mm. Yeah, you got to
It's
come out to Lubbock sometime. If I mean, it's out of the way from everywhere, but
yeah. Every time I hear Lubbock, I think of William Clark Green.
yep,
It's
he's still around. I've seen him at the Blue Light like quite a few times. Not playing, but just being there.
yeah.
Um, uh, there's a live from Blue Light album that is like right up your alley, I think. Do you know who Charlie Shafter is?
No.
So he's a great songwriter. But he had a just super sick rock band, basically. I mean, they were a rock band. Red Dirt, whatever you want to call it. Shred Dirt, I've heard people say. I don't know. But
I love that.
Charlie Shafter and the Gnomes live at Blue Light is like one of the best Blue Light albums that there is, and you should definitely check that one out. Like I feel like you would really like that one.
Yeah, dude, I definitely got to check that out because I remember the first time I heard that genre when they're like, they're like, are you Red Dirt? They're like, well, no, we're Shred Dirt. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
it's a thing.
yeah, it's because I'd never heard Red Dirt before, and it's funny when people say like, what, because a lot of people up here they don't know what I do, they don't care. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I try to promote Texas country and Red Dirt. And they're like,
Yeah.
what's Red Dirt? I was like, oh, here, it's just easier. Just here, listen to this. Here,
Hmm.
let's get you some Cody Canada or The Great Divide and
Oh
Jason
yeah,
Boland. Like, just
that's Red Dirt right there. I mean,
yeah,
I was gonna ask
yeah,
you. I was gonna ask you what, like, if somebody asked you what Red Dirt was, but that's really good. That's a really good answer.
yeah, dude. I love it. I love how it's just like Jason Boland's voice. You can't mimic that. It's just so thick and just the frequencies of him. And finally got to see him live, and live they were just a tremendous sound. It was just man, I
Hmm.
was like, God, with his voice, I was like, this is so good. And I mean, I've seen I've seen Cody Canada, and then Departed a bunch of times, hung out with them, and I've yet to see The Great Divide. I have to make sure I see The Great Divide. I got to talk to Mike McClure for a little bit, but I definitely need to see them because that sound and that vibe, it's just alive. I don't know. I really dig just the songwriting and like just how individual. It's just that the sound. It's got the vibe, but it's different all at the same time. And
Yeah,
you know,
Mike McClure is a really, really amazing songwriter, and their sound is like it's. I've only seen them live one time, and we actually got to open for them, which was
nice.
unbelievable. And that was the only time I've seen them, and it was awesome. But their sound is really like somewhere between kicking butt and kicking back. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's a couple island songs on there that make you just want to like take a vacation and wear your hat like this and maybe take a nap or something. But
Yeah.
and then there's some songs that make you want to turn your hat like this and make you want to rock out. Like the Great Divide is all over the place, and that's what those guys talk about. Those other Red Dirt guys like Stoney, LaRue, and Cody Canada, like Jason Boland. It's Mike McClure is like their godfather. You know, just
Yeah.
all of their sounds like wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Mike McClure having his like collective sound. Not Mike McClure, Great Divide, I should say, but
Yeah.
Mike McClure
Yeah.
band, his solo project has some really awesome songs on it too.
Yeah. I've been listening to more and more of those guys because like with the whole TikTok thing, I can't get past the copyright thing anymore, and it's just it sucks because that's like what I based everything on. It was like just listening to it for the first time, and I don't know. It's weird because like when you tell people what you do, and I'm like, I just like listen to music, I just talk about it, and they're like, who cares? And I'm like, I don't know.
A lot
People,
of people,
yeah,
a lot of people care, man.
because I know a lot of people like listening to like the older stuff. I'll be like, oh, cowbell, and people will DM me and be like, I've listened to that song for 30 years. I never heard a cowbell until you pointed it out. Now I can't unhear it. And like I did a podcast with Dylan Weldon, and he's like, people listening, like I never really thought of like people listen to music differently. Like I hear all the instruments, the percussion, the bass, before I hear the lyrics, which sometimes can end up in a bad experience, but that's just like, I don't get the lyrics for like numerous listens and like, that's when I finally like, it was weird because I was doing like the vocal isolation things on my own. So I could really just, it's like a lot of, you can, to read the lyrics, no, I'm going to get bored, but to hear it, and I'm like, I wonder if other people want to listen to that. And that's how that came about. But like, to really just hear everything separate and you can just be immersed in just the voice, which I found like some of these guys have like awesome voices that, and it's the interpretation of the program I use, but it's still the tone and stuff like that. It's still there. And, it's like the whole scene, like with your songs and everything, like when I always say like with American Aquarium, like you have like a personal connection when, the songs are honest and they have like truth to them and you can relate. And, every song is different about a different thing. And then you can just go from different emotions of levels of, this is a happy song, we're jamming. And it's like, oh, now we're in the feels. And then there's some that, they go up and down. It's just been really cool to like, I've never had like a connection, like a personal connection. Like I had my songs that were heavy. Like if I wanted to live something heavy, you put on, I had a connection with the feeling or like the aggression of the music, but now I'm on the side of, you're listening to like poetry in motion, like and I just really, really I appreciate it because I always like to read, and like these are these are story songs in, you know, like a, what do they call it? Like a novella. I don't know if it's just a short novel, and it's
Yeah.
just, it's really cool how it's just, it's endless. And, you know, just down in Texas and in Oklahoma and all that, there's a bunch of other places too. If they really, you know, have that spirit in them, it's definitely, I love it. And that's, I hope people, you know, realize that there's still great, you know, country music being made, you know, and a lot of the industry and media are just ignorant to it. You know, it's weird. It's almost like you guys are like the beat writers back in the '60s. Like all those guys just they were different. Like you were never gonna see their stuff on TV, or it's not gonna be read on the radio. And that was like, I get it. That's like the cool thing too. But it's just, you know, the more people that hear you, the more you can get that album done, because,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, like, and it's
Yeah.
good, and it's deserving. That's, you know what I mean. And I know what I do love of like listening to your music is very Texan. And since I've been going down to Texas more and more, I love when I'm like, I know what he's talking about. Like when you're talking all salt burritos, I was like,
Yeah.
yep. I was like, hell
Yeah.
yeah. And I liked the one song where you were talking about all the artists, and I'm like, I was like, I know all those guys. I was like, man,
Yeah.
hell yeah. It's
That's it.
really cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
a funny song. I almost took that one off the other day because I was like, God, that song stinks. That song's so bad. But
really, I
yeah.
love it because I'm
It's
like, I know exactly who you're talking about.
yeah, that was like my first project that I put out. I honestly didn't even know I was gonna like pursue playing music in front of people or anything. I just had written these songs, and um, this guy, I was going to WT, West Texas A&M University in Canyon, Texas, and I got tired of playing in my dorm, annoying my roommate, and then I moved to the stairwell, and then there was like this group of people that would form, and then they'd be requesting songs, and I'd be like, you know, whatever. It's not what I'm trying to do. And so I was looking for a place to just play by myself. And me and my buddy had figured out that this abandoned dormitory always had a door unlocked. And so I went in there, like I would go in there late at night, and like there's no AC on, whatever. And so I'm like sweating in September or something. And in that dormitory, they had like a little dance hall and stage from like way back in the day. And I would just go sit on that stage and play to nobody, play by myself, practice my songs and write songs and stuff. And I was in there one time, and this guy like walked in, and I was like, oh crap, I'm about to be in trouble or something. And he just walked out immediately, and I was like, okay, that was weird. And so when I was leaving that night, I went by to see him and just say, hey, you know, like, thanks for letting me play in here, whatever. He was fixing this grand piano that they had in there, and he worked in the music department. And he said, hey, were those your songs? And I said, yes, sir. And he was like, would you ever be interested in recording them? Well, sure, I guess. He's like, well, I need guinea pigs. I'm putting the recording studio in the music department back together. And so like I'm trying to figure out like what it's like, how everything works, and if it sounds right, and what else I need to get, and I just need people to come, you know, be guinea pigs. And so I was like, yeah, I'll come over there and do it. And so next thing you know, I went over there and like first take, like 6 songs, just did them all back to back to back on the same track. And then he cut them up into 6 songs and told me how to put them out, and I just did it. And I didn't even think about it. I wasn't like, I'm going to go play music or anything. And now I'm like, I really shouldn't have done that. But some people love those songs, and so it's an interesting thing to look back on and be like, that's how my releasing music started.
That's crazy. It's like a Texas country Goodwill Hunting story. You know?
Yeah, it was a crazy. That's why it's called the Buffalo Acoustic Sessions, is our mascot was the Buffaloes. So
Oh, okay, that's a really cool story. Of how
yeah, it was.
so like, what are the odds? It's like,
Yeah, no.
sometimes the universe just puts people where they need to be, it seems.
Seriously. I mean, if I didn't have my sneaky friend Josh, then I would have never found that place was unlocked, and I would have never went over there and played. And if that
Yeah.
guy also wasn't taking the time to fix that grand piano,
Yeah.
which nobody was paying him to do that. He was like a grad student or something. So, um, shout out to him. I think his name's Cody. I honestly don't even really remember his name because it was like I saw him twice in my lifetime, but
That's
he
wild.
he recorded and mixed those for me. So, yeah, it is a weird start to the releasing music journey. I'm still learning so much about it because there's so many jobs in the music industry. I'm like, what do you do? And I'm like, what is that? And it's something I'm supposed to be doing because I do all the jobs for myself. So I'm like, golly, how am I supposed to do a good job at building my music if I don't know how to do, if I didn't even know the jobs existed? So it's
Yeah,
really weird
it's
how many things there are to do and how many people get paid to do them, and it's wild.
yeah, it's especially when you first start doing it, and you're like, oh, we're at the recording studio. Oh, we're done. They're like, no, we sent it off to get mixed and mastered. You're like, oh, no, we're not
Hmm.
we're not done. That sounds pretty good. And then it's just like, yeah, there's a lot to it, especially like when you try to do it yourself, like getting in the mixing, and it's endless. You have to like really really study it, and have an ear for it, and you have to have the right kind of personality too, because
Mm.
it's for some people it's never going to sound good enough, and then you're going to
Yeah.
end up hoarding gold, where like you'd be like, let's not listen to that, and somebody would tell you like, dude, that song's awesome, release it. And here you might think it's the worst song you ever made. Music's it's so weird how when you do record songs and you're like, this is the banger right here, this is the one people are going to love, and it does nothing but the other song where you might have just been like, yeah, okay, just throw it on there, it's not bad. And it just, how people and how the audience can change, even like the perception of your own opinion on your own art is incredible.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, I was talking about that our new single that we're gonna do. Like I was talking about that a little earlier in the conversation. I was dead set on giving this song to my buddy Ashton Naylor, who is like a little more of a rock, red dirt sound from San Marcos. As soon as I wrote it, I was like, he could sing this, he can sing high, like he's got the band for it, whatever. And he was like, uh, he was like, well, send it back to me when you finish. And he didn't mean that in a bad way. He just thought it was unfinished or whatever. And I was like, well, the song's finished. I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever. And so I went and I started playing it, and um, yeah, like I said, the first time I played it in front of people, well, it was Golden Light Cafe in Amarillo. I was playing with Slade Coulter, and it was like sold out crowd. And I just for some reason that night was like, I'm gonna just try it in front of people, and I did, and it was like one of those things where like Slade, and I've opened for Slade a bunch, and a Slade Coulter crowd is like really ready for Slade Coulter. So you have to get their attention, or they're not going to pay attention before them. Which is probably how most opening shows are. I've been somewhere, everybody's paying attention the whole time, but like I've noticed this with him, especially probably because I've opened for him more than I've opened for anybody else. But um, you got to get their attention if they don't know who you are. And so um, people were kind of talking over me because I had just driven like 8 hours from Broken Bow from my spring break, and I kind of didn't know what I was doing there. I was in a bad mindset when I got there. So people were kind of talking over me, and then a few songs in, I was like, nobody's listening anyways. I'll play this one. And I was like, this is this new song I wrote, and I started playing it, and after the first chorus, everybody was like, and like the whole room, and I kind of got nervous. I kind of started like tightening up. I was like, oh gosh, everybody's looking at me now, and I don't even know if I know the rest of the words to this one. And I like looked at his I finished the song, and his manager Alec, he gets on the talkback and he's like, "That was a banger," and I was like, "Okay, interesting." And then I played the rest of the set. I got done. He was like, "Dude, that new one." Like he felt it too. He felt the room kind of shift, and played it the next day. Same thing happened. Same crowd opening for him somewhere else, and I was like, "God, we gotta." I went back to the band like the next week. We rehearsed, and I was like, "We have to work this song up because people are eating it up." And then we started playing it in our set, and like every show we played last year, it was like, "What was that last song y'all played?" And I'm like, I mean, that's a great problem to have, right? But like, yeah, the
Yeah.
other ones are good too, right? You know, yeah. So that's our next single. It's gonna be called "Wish I Could Hate You." I don't know exactly when it's gonna come out because we're still working on it. Like you said, like you hear it and you can just keep like fine tuning things. And so we're working with Jay Saldana on this one. He's one of the Hub City Drifters. He plays drums for the Hub City Drifters, um, and he's producing that one for us. And so we're still kind of like working on some fine tuning on it, but it sounds way like even cooler than I thought it could have sounded. Because I mean, like if you've listened to my music, like you said, there's variety and there's some red dirt, but there's definitely not anything that's like really heavy. Like there's not uh anything that you would like, head bang to. Maybe there might be some songs that lean towards the rock thing, but there's like a steel guitar or a harmonica, so it's either one or the other, right? But on this one, there is a steel guitar, but it is like as rock as red dirt can get. I mean, I don't care what anybody out there is doing. Like, I'm not gonna name names or whatever, but all those guys that do that, like, this is right there with like the rockiest red dirt, I think. And so when it came back to me, I was like, this is awesome. And people are either gonna hate this or not care, or they're gonna love it, And I don't care because I think it's sick. But
Yeah.
should be March or April.
Nice, dude. I'm excited. The way you describe it, I was like, yeah, that sounds like right up my alley.
Heck yeah, I can send you the rough tape too if you want. Totally up to you.
Yeah, I'll check,
But
dude. I'll check it out. That's cool. You play with Slade. Slade's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just kidding. He's awesome. I just like to give him a hard time, but I can't ever follow through with it. I always want to like say something bad about him, but he's literally, I mean, he's given me a bunch of opportunities and been a good, just a good dude, man. I don't want to say he's given me a lot of advice or been a mentor because I'll probably just do the opposite of what he says. But he's a great dude and great music. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go on and on about him because I hate him, but
I know what you mean.
yeah.
I I've been meaning to make a video, and I've talked about it on podcasts of how musicians talk about each other. Like if you weren't a musician and if we were talking to each other, you would think like we hate each other. But it like saying stuff like that is like a huge compliment if you're a musician. When like Slade's awesome. No, he's not. He's all
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's just unfortunate. Like all of my stories, like at least 1/3 of my stories have him involved in one way or another, and it's just ridiculous. So like every time I talk to people about like how I got started doing music, like my first gig was opening for Slade technically, and the show I went to that I realized I wanted to do live music, he was opening for somebody else, and it's like. And he's like, so I'm the whole, and so every time we talk, he's like, so I'm the reason. He'll like see one of those clips and be like, so I'm the reason you're playing music, and I'm like, dude, no, you're not.
Yeah. Oh, as a
So
musician, you never let that go. It's
no,
Yeah. He was like back. I don't know if the Honcho Music Group's still a thing, but he's the only one I didn't get to meet because I was talking to Dalton Domino. I'm like, where's Slade? He's like, dude, if he's here, you'll be able to see him. And I was like, what do you mean? He's tall. He's very tall. He said, you'll just see his head, no matter how big the crowd. But I didn't get to meet him. He was one of the ones I did want to meet because like, yeah, he that sound that
oh,
whole
yeah, he's got a different sound too than the rest of them, than the rest of the Shredder people. Like his
yeah
his to me is very unique, and all the songs. have variety within that sound to me. I think it's really special. But yeah, he's really good at music. He's a really great dude. He's big physically, but he sucks at NCAA. So you know, do with that what you will. But
Oh, that's hilarious. It's funny because like Dalton's not on TikTok anymore. If he is, I didn't see. He had like this headband on. I thought he was like a Vietnam like helicopter flyer. And here I'm like, dude, I'm older than you. He was always sending me DMs in all caps. Like, why are
mhm.
you yelling at me, Dalton? He's like, you don't know who Chris Christopherson was? I'm like, no, I knew him as Whistler as Blade. I had no
Mm.
idea he was a musician. I'm like, and
Yeah,
then you find out, like, not only was he a musician, he was, well, what wasn't he? You know, I was just like,
yeah.
man, what a,
He's an amazing
it's,
story.
yeah, like a real life, like genius Forrest Gump, you know, like just it throughout. And some of the stories, and it's weird because normally like folklore like that and stories like that has a way of like, you can hear that before you actually hear the music or it's just a name like that. You know, I never would have known Willie Nelson's name other than Bill Hicks comedy and, you know, seeing that he was getting sued by the government and then seeing him in some movies. And then, you know, you sit down and, you know, like he just listen to his music and enjoy it. And God, I could probably listen to his music and never hear the same song for the next
Yeah, I don't
5 to 10
know.
years.
That's actually a great question. I would love to know the answer to that. I bet AI could tell us at some point, but
Yeah,
like
like
that would be an interesting. How long can you listen to Willie Nelson songs that aren't like each individual one? How long would that take you? I don't know. I've been
uh,
listening. I haven't gotten through all of his discography. I've been trying to do that for since last year or so, and I started way at the beginning in the early '60s, and it's just impossible. Because and this is another thing about Willie that inspires me is like he just likes making music with his friends, and um, you said something about like not caring about the suits or whatever, like what works, what hasn't worked. Like Willie just liked making music with his friends, and so he wanted to do an album with everybody. Like I want to do an album with Merle Haggard. I want to do an album with Johnny Cash. I want to do an album with Ray Price. I want to do an album with Ray Charles. Like all the different. I mean, anybody that was a buddy of Willie Nelson, he wanted to make music with him, and I mean, I'm the same way. We've got a project that we're working on putting together right now with a couple of buddies. It's all songs about the road, and
nice.
we have infinite wisdom because we've been doing it for like 2 years, so we know everything there is to know about it, right? But that's the idea, and it's just gonna be. When I first pitched it to my buddy, I won't call him out yet because we haven't done the project yet. But when I first pitched it to him, he was kind of like, I don't know, like I still want to put out like my debut album, and there were some other things going on, and I was like, come on, man, like it's just gonna be a good time. And then lo and behold, he writes a song that's perfect for it. And then he texts me and he's like, I wouldn't do this song, I don't think, other than if we did this project. So, and then I've like made him play that. I play that song in front of people all the time, and everybody agrees it's got to get cut. And he just shakes his head because he thinks it's goofy, silly, but it's really, really creative songwriting. And yeah, no, I really appreciate that about Willie Nelson is just like wanting to make music with your buddies and letting people hear it, you know?
Yeah, like have fun with it and stuff.
hmm
And like who doesn't want to make music with their friends just for the love of it,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. And then people want to hear that. They want to hear like whether it's polished or the raw stuff, like they, people want to, I mean, I do. I want to feel like I'm sitting around a campfire with you. Like, you know, um, are you playing with singing harmonies for each other and stuff, like I can just kind of like that's a good feeling to have. And so I think that's an important thing to show your audience is to be that way, just like enjoy this, or don't enjoy it. I had a good time making it. There's
Yeah.
the Wade Bowen, sorry, I got them mixed up. Wade Bowen and Randy Rogers put out the Hold My Beer and Watch This. I don't know how many they've done now, but supposedly it started like they just went and recorded in Austin, and it was like they had some of their old songs, and they did it like really quickly, so they didn't write a bunch of new ones for it. They had kind of maybe like each written a couple, like just threw these songs together. But they just wanted to make like a really traditional Texas country album, with like the pedal steel and fiddle, and they just went to Austin and recorded it in the studio and didn't tell anybody, like their management or anything. And then their management was like, "What are these invoices we're getting for, whatever?" And they're like, "Just trust us, like just trust us." And then it's arguably like some of their biggest successes have come from that. And I think that's a really unique story. But yeah, just the willingness to be like, yeah, let's just throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. I mean,
Yeah.
just with your buddies. I mean, I've made some
Yeah.
of my best friends from doing this, like in the past 2 years. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just that song. She left me for a rodeo clown. Is that
Yeah, that's on there.
that was on it?
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah. I
on
was
there.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. He's a cool guy as well. He sent me a message. He said, "Hey, when we're down at mile zero. Let's get a drink," and he did. I got to hang out with him. It was a pretty cool night. He was a cool guy, I was
Yeah.
just like, be cool.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there. It's funny. Like, somebody asked me, I did an interview for something, and they were like, "Hey, now that we're done, can we ask you? Do you have any contacts with Stoney LaRue?" I'm like, "Man, no, I met Stoney." I said he had no idea who I was, and I don't think he's up on the TikTok thing because he's like, "You do what? You do what?" And I was like, "I try to make people listen to your music that haven't heard it." He's like, "That's really cool." He's like, "Yeah, so you just listen." I was like, "Yeah, that's all I do,"
Yeah.
But if it's been fun because like I see these people, and like you said, like you consider them friends. When you see them, they're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool." It's as a musician, like who doesn't want to have more musician friends because they get it, because it's
Yeah.
when everyone's telling you grow up, get a real job, you're like, no, this
Yeah.
this isn't for.
Yeah.
It's a job. It's a real job. It's harder than your job. How about that? I get to risk, being medically bankrupt to entertain people and drive hundreds and hundreds of miles for maybe nothing, maybe exposure, maybe,
Yeah.
oh,
Maybe less
we
than
got,
nothing.
yeah, less, yeah.
Maybe we're going in the red.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll t- I'll tell you this one. Okay, this is the worst. This is the worst. We like, I mean, things happen. You blow a tire or whatever. I don't know. You hit a deer. I mean, all this,
Yeah.
like the things that like typically happen. Well, we hadn't had any of that happen. And I'm just thinking like, man, we're very blessed,
Yeah.
Every trip I'm just thinking we're so blessed. Like
A
God's
mission from
protecting
God.
us or something, you know what I mean? Like hadn't happened. Well, it turns out like he was just saving it all for one trip because we had just got to the point where we needed a trailer to take all of our stuff, and this was like our first long trip in a trailer. So we were going like, and in Texas, I mean, it might as well be a freaking like countrywide tour for other people in the world. They don't understand like. We're
Yeah.
going 7 hours to play, and it's like, yeah, this is like just another market we have to work, I mean, whatever, especially from Lubbock. But anyways, we're going to New Braunfels to play a show, and there's like this weird. It's a pretty area, but it's like the middle ground between West Texas and the hill country, and so like the red dirt starts to disappear. It starts to get like a little more rocky, but there's still like yucca plants but then there's hills and cows, and so it's like this really cool like middle ground between the hill country and West Texas, and but those roads there's always construction, these like highways that go across Texas, like 2-lane highways that go all the way across Texas. And so they're never going to finish those roads completely, whatever. And there's no shoulder for most part. And we're just like hauling it, like going 80. And with a trailer and everything, no shoulder. And then we're coming down. We're here, and there's a semi coming from the other direction. We're both coming down to the bottom of this hill. And I see this Roadrunner run out. And it's standing at the edge of the road. Like I can see it and it feels like slow motion at this point. And I see it run out in between us and the semi. And I kind of like hold my breath because there's nothing I can do. I'm like, we're just going to hit this thing. And next thing I know, it flies up. It jumps up, and a Roadrunner flies high enough to smash my windshield. Like, it was like somebody hit it. It was like, Randy Johnson was like throwing his fastball at my windshield. And those things are dense. And so it just like shatters my whole windshield right in front of my face. There's hair, or feathers like stuck in the windshield and stuff. And my heart's just like thumping like crazy. And I'm just looking at the guys like, what the heck just happened? What? Did that Roadrunner just fly? What? And then we just keep driving, and there's no towns around. So we start to call ahead and like see if there's any places they can get us in. No, it can't get us in. Can't get us in. And so I'm like, well, sheesh. So I call my buddy Hank Weaver. He's another singer-songwriter from San Marcos, and I'm like, hey man, do you know any places that do like windshields? And no, what happened? You rock hit you or something? I was like, well, you're not gonna believe this, but we hit a Roadrunner, and I just keep like going on, like we need to find somebody to replace it before we drive back to Lubbock. And he's like, hang on. Did you just say that you hit a Roadrunner with your windshield? And we're talking. He's like, do you realize like the likelihood of that happening, of a Roadrunner flying up and hitting your windshield? And I'm like, yeah. And he's laughing. I'm like, it's really not that funny, but yeah, it's okay, whatever. Like, you don't know anybody? He's like, no, I don't know anybody that does that. He's like, but you do realize what just happened, right? Like, you did what Wile E. Coyote could never do. Like, you killed that dang Roadrunner. Like, all this stupid stuff. He's just making fun of me, not helping, of course. But anyways, we got to the next gas station, and I'm thinking, get out, get some gas, just kind of calm down. And we had blown a tire on the trailer. I didn't even know it because it's a double axle, like can't really tell, and so didn't know it blew one tire. And so then I go to change this. I'm like, okay, well, no big deal. We got a spare. Go throw the spare on. Well, I'd gotten it from some other trailer, and it's a 5 lug nut rim, but they're not the same distance, so they don't fit. And I didn't even know that was a thing. And so I'm like, what the heck? So I'm sitting there trying to get it on there, and then eventually I'm just like, this doesn't fit. And so then I have to walk to the tire shop and buy a new tire and whatever. And yeah, it was the longest trip ever. And then on the way back, blew another tire. And yeah, it was just like everything happened at once. So 2 blown tires, Roadrunner shattered my windshield. It was like probably $500 to replace all of that. And yeah, I don't even know what we were talking about before the story came up, but just like stuff happening on the road, I guess that was just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever been through. We're like limping to and we had 2 shows. It was a full weekend, so we get done with the one in New Braunfels, and then we're going to Lampasas to play, and we like come in that place just limping, and they're like, "Are you guys all right?" We're like, "Yeah, we're fine." It's just a lot of stuff happening, like the band we were playing with in New Braunfels wouldn't let us backline drums on this tiny stage or something too. It was like, oh, can one more thing happen right now? Well, the drummer forgot his sticks. Well, somebody's got to stop in Austin and get us some sticks, I guess. So
Yeah,
it's just
hitting the Roadrunner. I guess you can't listen to Wile Coyote from the Great Divide.
I love that song. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, I agree. He's a communist too, he's the worst. Yeah, I don't remember what all he says. He's a a-hole. He's a something. He's a communist too. But Yeah, I fully understand Wiley Coyote and that song because and we came to a full realization because like a couple months later, like I said, we got to open for him, and I had already like done merch with Roadrunners on them. Nobody understood that except for us. You know, it's just like it looks a cool looking shirt. Like it's got a big Roadrunner flying on the back. Probably nobody has a shirt with a flying Roadrunner, you know. And to us, it's like
Yeah.
this whole symbolic thing, and we're sitting there selling those T-shirts, and it was really probably the best we've ever sold merch was in Turkey, Texas. That place is awesome, and sitting there selling those shirts and just like handing them out, and he's singing Wiley Coyote, hey Wiley Coyote, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me, crazy,
That's
but
funny.
yep.
It's smoking a Roadrunner.
And now every time I go through that area, I'm looking for them. I'm like, you better not. And I've seen some still. I've seen more in that same spot, and I slow down. I slow way down. It's not gonna happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. More aware. But yeah, man, we've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Just
Well, I guess the last thing that I would need to talk about for sure is we've got shows coming up. Um,
yeah.
our well, we're gonna play. Well, okay, the one I need to talk about is our next show at Blue Light Live in Lubbock, and it's our favorite bar in the world, and our favorite people in the world is February 6th. We'll be playing there again, and we can't wait. I've been calling it the Jester Returns. That's what I've been calling it to myself, anyways, because I sing funny songs. I sing real songs too, but we've got a lot of like songs that'll make you laugh. They might make you cry too, but yeah, the Jester Returns. Because some people claim they're the king of blue light or whatever. I would never claim to be that. It's like, Walter, Mike. But I'll take the Jester. You know, that's still royalty, I guess, technically. So we're calling it the Jester Returns, February 6th, Blue Light Live. So
Nice. I like that. That's funny.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, he does sell it out every time. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with anybody. The last time I said that to somebody, though, they were like, "What happened to Will Green? Did he just roll over and die?" And I was, well, all right. Well, I'm not here to argue about it. I don't know. He's the king of blue light. I don't think that's really a thing anybody would argue about. It's just a great place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. They hopefully, one day I need to like do like a trip and hit all these venues. I know that like live in my mind. I just never been there, but I know all the names, and it's cool because they're like, as all the musicians I talk to, these names are like revered as places to play, and you're even a place to watch a show,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. It's just really cool the history of some of these venues and how when people talk about them, they become just a space in people's minds, even though they've never been there. It's
yeah.
really cool.
I'm about to go to Songwriter Night here in a little bit at Blue Light. They do Songwriter Night every Monday. That was something that those two guys actually both told me when I was first moving to Lubbock. Slade and William Clark Green, they both said, well, Will said it like this. He said, oh, go to the Blue Light on Monday night and they'll get you worked out. They'll get you worked out. And he kind of laughed, and I was like, what does that mean, get you worked out? And then I got there and I learned very quickly. It was like, well, it's not like the Songwriter Night where everybody's got to be quiet. It's like people are going to be talking, having a good time, like it's a show. And you get up there, and if your song sucks, nobody's going to pay attention. I mean, that's just the way it is. And
That's funny.
it's so true. But yeah, Blue Light's a great place. There are a bunch of places like that. We'll be playing the Blue Light one of the nights of Cotton Fest too, which is a great festival that William Clark Green puts on out here and at Cook's Garage. And yeah, I mean, that's a great time too. Like that's one of the best weekends that I've experienced always is like going to Cotton Fest and seeing acts and meeting people and then going to Blue Light after. It's like awesome. And so I'm super excited that we get to play that this year. So not Cotton Fest.
Nice.
We get to play at Blue Light. But it's a cool deal.
Yeah, yeah. definitely. Even I've heard of Cotton Fest as another thing. You know, I always look at it and I'm just like, man, because I love William Clark Green.
Hmm.
It riles people up when I say William Clark Green is my Keith Whitley, and people are like, you can't compare anybody to Keith
I'm
Whitley. I'm like,
telling you, yeah, I am right there with you. I didn't listen to him uh growing up at all. I listened to like I said, I listened to a lot of things growing up. I listened to rock and I listened to mainstream country and I listened mostly old country and stuff, but like Red Dirt wasn't really my thing. Or Texas country wasn't really my thing. And then I got to college and then when I came to tech, it was like William Clark Green. I might have known two songs, but everybody's talking about him. And then I started listening to his stuff and you're very, very right. Like he is an amazing songwriter. Um, Some of those are just ridiculous. One of my favorite songs, the number one song I listened to last year was She Loves Horses by William Clark Green. And I discovered that one off of his Live from Cheatham Street album. And that's an amazing project. If you're ever bored and you're wanting to watch something on YouTube, look up William Clark Green live at Cheatham Street. And it's
okay,
like really cool. He tells the stories and it's kind of broken down and but yeah, you're you're so right. And Cotton Fest is awesome, and it's grown tremendously. I haven't been here to see it all, but it started as like they just wanted to raise some money and have a good time, and now it's like a couple of years ago the lineup, and it's just lucky sometimes, right? Like you get a lineup of guys that haven't quite like blown to the proportion that they are now, but and this was like the best example of that. There was a day where it was um, Carter Faith. I'm pretty sure she played that day. She might have been the first one to play, and then some guy named Slade Coulter played that day, and he's got a bright future. He's gonna be good one day. And then right after him, it was Red Clay Strays, and then it was William Clark Green, and then it was Treaty Oak, or maybe vice versa. But it was like Treaty Oak and Red Clay played on the same day at Cotton Fest,
nice.
and it was insane. And that was like right. It was like right after they had kind of hit their first little stride, like Wondering Why had just blown up, and Boomtown and that stuff was like going crazy for Treaty Oak Revival, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, they definitely blew up. It's yeah. It, I mean, they're super talented, and yeah, they're just really good. I'll never be able to probably see them in the same setting I got to see them before,
Hmm.
because yeah, they went to like playing stadiums and stuff, and
Yeah, I was just oh my gosh, I'm gonna say his name again, but I was just with them the other day because some guy that was playing with them needed to use a guitar, and so I was there, and it was in Dickies Arena, and it was amazing. It was so weird to see because I mean their whole like the beer slinging thing and all that like rowdy stuff they do that started at the Blue Light, like seriously, and that's a small room, and now it's like I just watched 12, 13,000 people just like mauling each other uh, over this song about West Texas, and they have no idea what
yeah,
it's talking about probably, but they're having just a crazy good time. It's
yeah.
weird.
Oh,
It's weird to see, but it's really cool.
yeah. It's definitely an experience to go to one of their shows.
Yeah, but
It's
anyways,
very
I said that to say that Cotton Fest crowd was really, really amazing. Like you had the Red Clay guys who were basically singing like gospel songs, and people are singing along. And that's a rock band too. Like they are amazing live. Like their records don't do them justice, honestly. And
yeah,
and then to the end of the night being Treaty Oak and Will Green, and it's like that crowd was there the whole time, enjoying the whole thing. Like that's the best thing about Lubbock, Texas to me is they love all of it, and
yeah,
that's why Cotton Fest is so awesome. And yeah, I think it's worth seeing.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, that's definitely a whirlwind of emotions to listen to those three bands.
Yeah. And then you got to put up with some guy with long hair in between. It's like playing some stupid green guitar. Gosh, dude.
Hey, Mary.
Oh man, yeah. No,
That's funny.
I'm gonna start a beef with him on accident. And he's gonna destroy me, but it's fine.
like Zach Bryan, Gavin Adcock.
Yeah, no, I could never have that with him. But
Yeah, I know it's funny. Because he'll probably watch this. Well, definitely when I send him clips.
yeah, tag him. I'll point.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. But yeah,
But
man, thank you for taking your time out and
of
sitting
course,
down and talking with me.
yeah. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak on your platform. I like I said, I've been watching your videos since the first time. I think not to keep the conversation going, but like
Awesome.
I think the first time I saw your video, I was like, it was kind of like the thing you said with like a song, where like people resonate to songs on a personal level. Because like I said, I didn't grow up on red dirt music or whatever, and so I remember the first time that I heard Tyler Childers, and I was like, whoa. And I remember the first video I saw of you was Tyler Childers, and you were like, whoa. And I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. That's it. That's exactly
yeah.
right. It's like,
I,
whoa.
I called him
You know?
Childers. I remember. I'm like, that's how it's written,
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I've seen your stuff for a long time, and I really appreciate what you're doing. So thanks for having me.
dude. Thanks for coming on. And I hope if people haven't heard your music, they go and check it out because it's great. I enjoy it. I'm excited for this new song to hear the rock inside, the
Yeah.
little heavier edge.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And yeah, enjoy your songwriting night tonight, the blue light.
Absolutely. Well, it's Jerry Serrano's 10-year anniversary, so he's been doing it for 10 years now. Pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, yep. Thanks for hopping on, and I'll talk to you soon. If you ever need anything, just don't hesitate. Reach out.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
So yeah, man. Well, enjoy your night.
Will do.